There is neither happiness nor misery in the world. There is only the comparison of one state to another, nothing more. He who has felt the deepest grief is best able to experience supreme happiness. We must have felt what it is like to die, that we may appreciate the enjoyments of life. And that was said by Alexander Dumas. Welcome to Surviving the Matrix, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Maxwell Igan. I will be your host for the next hour, and it's a pleasure to be with you again. Now, in all the shows that I've done, ever since I started talking to you on the radio, ever since I started posting things on YouTube, in all of these shows, right since the beginning, I have consistently attempted to bring you the same message in various forms. I've repeated myself on a lot of the shows simply because I felt I've needed to. I've been trying to address the same issue from as many different perspectives as I can, because people's minds work differently. So the reason I seem to say the same thing over and over again in various different ways is because hopefully I will reach more and more people who may not have heard it when it was said a different way. I mean, when I look at things the whole last 12 months and all the information that I brought and the ability to be able to bring you this information, I mean, it really has been a godsend, but it's not something that I'd ever planned to do. I'd never set out to be a radio host. I'd never even thought about being a radio host. I just did a lot of research over my life. I found out a lot of things that really didn't seem to add up, and so I wrote the book that I wrote. I put that out there just basically to give people an idea of what my research had led me to find out thus far as the topic of ancient history went. And so the book and the website was a great way for me to just put this information out there, just to see what people think. And then I discovered YouTube, and I thought, well, what a great medium, what a great way to be able to get information out to people. I mean, there is so much conspiracy stuff on the internet, all from different sources, all from different places. So I thought I'd simply put out what my research had led me to discover, what my research had told me, and put out my opinion, my view, my interpretation of what I can see going on in the world. Do I claim to know everything? No, I don't. Absolutely not. I'm simply a researcher who's very interested in what's going on. I try to look at things objectively and try to put things in perspective and see what the common threads tell me when I look at all this information from every source that I can. And I will look at every source, folks. I'd like to follow what everybody's doing, what everybody's saying, no matter how much I disagree with their perspective. It's nice to know what people are saying and what people are thinking. And it's only by analyzing all of these perspectives that you can find the common threads that run through the middle. This is what I've been trying to present people with, this way of looking at things, this understanding of things. In all of my shows right since the beginning, I've been trying to encourage people not to believe what I say, but simply to look at things objectively. Look at the information, go and investigate some of the stuff that I talk about, that all of these people talk about. You need to investigate all of it yourself until you can really be in a position to form a coherent picture or a coherent opinion of what is actually going on. Without looking at all the information, if you simply look at things from a Christian perspective or a New Age perspective or a political perspective or a financial perspective, you're never truly going to understand what's going on. You need to look at it from all perspectives. You need to look at it non-judgmentally. You really do. Now, everything that I've talked about on the shows, when I've talked about energy, the nature of reality, I've had some criticism from people saying, you are saying that this is what the ancient tribes said and the ancient shamans said, and so we should believe them instead of believing what our science says. And I've been trying to explain to them, well, no, it isn't that at all. What I'm saying is that a lot of these shamanistic cultures seem to reinforce what is now being understood by modern science. It's simply that this modern science is kind of out of the mainstream. They like to prevent people from looking at this type of information because it's very freeing information, it's very empowering information. when you start to understand the work of a great number of modern scientists today who can scientifically explain consciousness and can scientifically explain and understand the energy field around us and how it works and how it is manipulated by our emotions and our belief systems and our intentions, then you begin to see a lot of what these ancient shamanistic cultures were saying, and a lot of what all of these ancient monuments and temples and buildings tell us as well. You begin to understand that this knowledge of how our emotions affect reality was extremely well known in ancient days. But something happened, and that information got taken away from the people. That knowledge got hidden from the people by what we refer to as the elite bloodlines. These bloodlines are psychopathic, and they hoard information and they use it to control the rest of society, because they see everybody as a threat. That's a lot of it. I mean, it's a threat to their hegemony. They thrive on power, they thrive on this energy. It's the dark side of the energy, the fear energy, what many people would see as Luciferian practices, Luciferian energy. When you start looking at the ancient texts, when you start looking at shamanistic traditions, when you start looking at modern science, when you start examining all the different conspiracy theories, this is the common thread that you find. You find that this is what has happened. You find that there's been so much put in place, so many conspiracy theories and so much misinformation, so many angry voices, that it really does become incredibly hard to discern what the truth is and where the truth really lies, what the thread is. But again, what you find is that these bloodlines have simply usurped power on the planet. They've usurped power by taking the power away from others. This is how the most powerful people on our earth have become so powerful. Not because they were born powerful, but because they work to take the power away from others, to control the power of the rest of the population. Now these ruling factions, these ruling bloodlines, the bankers that control the monetary system, these are, as I often say, the CEOs that run the whole shebang. They control the people through enslaving them to debt and keeping people locked into a monetary system which serves them no benefit whatsoever. It's almost impossible for modern man or anybody in the modern world to comprehend a world with no money, to comprehend that we don't actually need this stuff. We don't need all of this technological rubbish that we have around us. I mean, sure, the internet's great, but what if we could do these sorts of things without the internet? What if we could communicate with each other without the internet? What if we could communicate to each other through the field? What if we could realize that we are all part of a single consciousness, and that each one of us is simply a different frequency of that consciousness? This whole reality that we're in, it almost feels like a construct, and science and nature also very much indicates that this reality is in fact a mathematical construct. Why else would everything within this reality follow known mathematical principles? Even the chaotic factors of everything within this reality, even the chaotic factors of star systems, even the chaotic factors of a waterfall, within these what is seemingly chaos lies mathematical principles. When you get it down to a quantum level, it all follows mathematical principles. Everything. And understanding how this works is to understand all of creation is fractal, and all of it follows predictable number sequences. It all follows the pi ratio. It all follows the Fibonacci sequence. All of these things. This reality is too mathematically perfect to have been a random act of nature. This is what science very much indicates to us. If you go and read all of the different reports, go and read and listen to the work of many, many great lecturers on this topic. Listen to Bruce Lipton, listen to Ian Lungold, listen to Nassim Harriman, listen to a lot of what these scientists are now saying. And then go and look at nature for yourself, look at your body, and you will find that these principles exist everywhere. Now, when you understand how all this works, and when you understand this mathematical construct, the nature of this reality, and you begin to understand the nature of energy, then you begin to see how power has been taken away from the individual, and that there is a psychopathic order of society that is controlling society through control of the governments, through control of the banking system. Every person within this reality has to pay for every moment that they're alive on the planet. No matter what country you're in, you have to pay to be in that country. As soon as you're old enough to pay, as soon as you're old enough to be put to work, they make sure that you have to pay to be alive. But really, we are very powerful beings, and we don't have to do this. And the way to stop all of this madness, all of this mayhem, to stop all of the wars, all of the homelessness, all of the destruction, all of the control that is being exercised over the many by the few, the way to stop it all is to simply understand our connection to each other and understand the power that we all have.